Today on GenxhotrodsTV, we're going to do a simple, easy shelf built out of scrap wood to go on the top of your workbench. Alright, so for the first thing y'all want to do is cut all your wood to size. I'm not giving any measurements or anything on this one, just like the other one. Your shelf may be different. I'm using scrap wood. So what I ended up with was an 8-foot piece of 7/16 OSB and 4 pieces of 5/8 particle board. Cut on a 45-degree angle, and your size and length will vary depending on how long you want your shelf. I tend to cut mine a 1/2 inch shorter than the shelf width and 1.5 inches shorter than the overall shelf width. And what that does is that gives you a nice profile. When it sits under your shelf, it's not too big. You can take jigsaw and route out and cut out this area here if you want to. Next up are pocket holes. I put 2 pocket holes in mine. If you don't have a pocket hole jig, this is a very good, inexpensive pocket hole jig. Comes from Harbor Freight Tools. I think I paid $35 for it after I had a coupon, some deal. Anyway, you can find them on sale. You can get them cheaper. I think regular price is only 60 bucks. It is well worth it. It is a very good pocket hole jig, especially for the beginner, just a hobbyist or whatever. It's not hard to set up. It comes already assembled. You just basically mount it. I mount it with 2 screws to your tabletop, adjust your settings, clamp your wood in. Set your drill bit. I'll do an instructional video on that later to show you how to set up your pocket hole jig. But if you don't have a pocket hole jig, you could mount it with L brackets, I suppose, or if you could get to the back of your bench, whatever wall you're drilling through, you can always measure, mark, and then drill straight in to mount your brackets up like so. Actually, mine get mounted like that, so yeah, to mount your brackets up like that. But that's pretty much how we're going to mount them up. So let's get to drilling some pocket holes. Okay, you got your boards cut, you got your holes drilled. Now you need to clean off your area, wherever you need to clean off to get it to where you can work with it. And then we're going to lay out our lines and mount up our brackets. I used 4 brackets because I'm using 5/8 plywood, 7/16 OSB, and 5/8 particle board. If you were using 3/4 inch for your shelf, for the actual shelf itself, you could go with less brackets. You don't have to use a minimum of 3 over an 8-foot span, preferably 3 over a 4-foot span. I'd always try to use 3 because the middle's going to sag over time if you don't watch it. And you can also put a band across the front, which I probably will later on, but I'm not doing right now, which is why I cut my angles the way I cut them, so that I can put in a strip across the front to help brace the front up. Let's get this marked out. Okay, so once you get your boards cut, everything's pre-drilled, you're ready to go. You got your stuff laid out. It's time to mark your lines. So let's mark our lines and we'll go from there. Big fat pencil. Now that you have your lines laid out, you got your areas marked, you know exactly where you want to put your brackets. I'm using 4 brackets over an 8-foot span, so that's 1 on each end, and then at 32 and 64, that gives you a roughly symmetrical number. You need to lay out a line that goes all the way across, so you know where to put your 2 middle brackets. You can either pop a chalk line, you can get an 8-foot straight edge, or you can take a 2x4 like I'm going to do, mount your first bracket exactly where you want it. Lay your 2x4 up on your next bracket, drop a level on that, move your 2x4 up till that's level. Or you can measure the 2x4 down 1.5 inches and just use it as a straight edge. It's just a shelf, so it's not particular. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so let's get to that. We'll get our shelves mounted up. First bracket's up. Let's get our 2x4. Let me grab a clamp. Well, there you go, that's level. So from here, 2x4 is level. You can either use the 2x4 as your kind of a butt plate to see where your bracket goes, which is what I'm going to do. Or you could just scribe a line and move the 2x4 and you'll know where to put them. This will help me get mine not only straight up and down, but it'll also help me get them straight side to side. So that's what I'm going with. Alright, so now that's done, we're ready to mount our shelf. That's simple. Put your shelf up there, screw it down. Now, at this point, you could use pocket hole jig. You could use your pocket hole jig to actually put pocket holes up underneath and screw your shelf in that way. I'm not worried about that. It's not a piece of furniture. It's just a shelf to hold chargers and things in my shop. So, I'm not going to worry about all that. Alright, that's it. Simple, easy use, do-it-yourself scrap wood shelf. As I said before, I left these short so I could actually put a strip here to kind of brace a little bit, but it probably won't even need that. Honestly, I'll probably never get to that point of it. You can buy these little brackets like this at Home Depot. I think they're 60 cents or 80 cents or hell, I don't know how much they are. But this I had laying around the shop. And these brackets were actually a little longer than what I wanted because they hung down too far. I wanted something shorter. So I decided to go with that. I appreciate you watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. These are just simple videos I'm trying to get up to get out. Give somebody something to watch. Let them know who I am. Thanks. Comment, good or bad. Either way, live your life. We'll talk to you later. Bye.